was obsessing over negative keywords. I was actually watching conversions drop, and I was frantically adding negative keywords, just trying to remedy the situation. And these search terms were pretty irrelevant. It actually killed my results. Now, I didn't know then a couple things that I want to talk to you today about. The fact that Google Ads has changed, and there's something that you can do about it. So back to the story, I was there watching these conversions drop as after I pretty much added all of these negative keywords, and I was frantically adding more, thinking that that would, fix the situation. And unfortunately, the performance just continued to drop and drop and drop, and the client was basically breathing down my neck. I was pretty much saying hey, these keywords are irrelevant. We have to exclude them. But as the more I did that, ultimately, the more the campaign ended up dropping and falling in performance, and I had to basically do a complete restructure. Now, there are several things that I understand now that I wish I knew before that would have helped me in this situation. I was pretty much desperate to tell the client and show the client that I was ultimately doing everything I could to optimize the campaigns, but the campaigns just kept on dropping. So what I discovered ended up changing everything about the way that I see Google Ads. And the fundamental shift that happened is that Google pretty much changed the targeting all the way from basically keywords and search terms to actually audience-based bidding. So it's no longer really going after specific search terms when you're specifically using smart bidding. You're ultimately trying to go after people. So Google essentially is looking to see and predict who is going to be able to convert for that specific, product or service. So the fact is, I was optimizing these campaigns using older tactics that were no longer going to do well for these smart bidding campaigns. And so there are a couple things that I want to recommend when you're using smart bidding. Now, when it comes to smart bidding, the smart bidding campaign types are maximize conversions, TCPA, maximize conversion value, and TROAS. Now, the keyword-based bidding is manual CPC, maximize clicks, and target impression share. So make sure that you understand what I'm talking about when it comes to audience-based bidding versus keyword bidding. This is essential to understanding when and how to optimize. Stop fighting your smart bidding campaigns. You need to optimize that campaign and understand that that campaign is going after users. And so the traffic may look a little bit irrelevant, but is it ultimately achieving your goal? That's the main thing that you want to be measuring. And so don't freak out when you have a bunch of irrelevant traffic. Make sure that you're measuring your conversions and measuring the total impact the campaigns have on the business. So there's 3 ways that I want to kind of talk about you being able to thrive in this kind of new era. And this is going to help you kind of shift your mindset and know when and how to optimize smart bidding campaigns versus manual campaigns. So number 1 is recognize that there are 2 worlds of Google Ads now. And I pretty much talked about this. This is a game-changing mind shift that you need. The old world is manual CPC, maximize clicks, target impression share. That is specifically going after keywords and search terms. So make sure that you add negatives to those campaigns. You can add them literally every single hour. It's not going to interrupt the learning that those campaigns are doing. And then the new world is TCPA, TROAS, max clicks, max conversion, and max conversion value, which is based off of audiences. So Google's trying to predict whether that person is going to convert. Stop applying old world tactics to new world campaigns. For example, applying negatives every single day, changing your TROAS targets every single day, it's going to be a recipe for disaster. So make sure that you stick to kind of larger, cadences, larger changes within a certain amount of time. Now, at the end of this video, I'm going to share with you kind of the best times to optimize smart bidding campaigns And this is something that I wish I had known back in 2023. And this can actually work for large accounts and small accounts. And so make sure you stick with me. But number 2, give your smart bidding campaigns room to breathe and fight the urge to control everything. So honestly, don't really look at the search terms. Don't look at those things within the campaigns. I'm not saying don't do that ever, but don't get too hyper-focused on that. And I actually have a strategy with step number 3 to basically be able to train these smart campaigns to optimize where you want it to go and for the search terms that you want it to go. So make sure you focus on like conversion trends and performance metrics. Is it ending up getting the business more results? And make sure you wait the proper amount of time based off of the number of conversions that your campaigns are getting before actually making changes. This is a major, major mistake that a lot of people are making. So you want to add those negatives in batches and at the proper time. Now you're probably wondering, when is the proper time? And I actually am going to get to that after number 3. So again, stick with me, and I'm going to show you a very simple kind of structure on when to optimize your campaigns. Now, what happens when you're basically making changes to smart bidding is that the campaign performance dips. And then based off of the conversion lag, whether it's 6 days, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 31 days, it will basically then start to perform better after that typical conversion lag. Because when you're increasing budget, when you're adding negatives, when you're changing your targets, it's basically showing Google it needs to relearn and refigure out how to basically optimize based off of the new parameters that you set. And so make sure that you wait the proper amount of time. So what's the proper amount of time? Don't worry. After number 3, I'm going to get to that, and I'm going to show you actually a very easy structure that anyone can understand. And you can look at your data to actually know when is the best time to optimize. And so after number 3, I'm going to get to that. But before we get there, number 3, master a hybrid approach between smart bidding strategies and manual campaigns. So you can actually get the best of both worlds. So using manual campaigns for strict keyword control, run smart bidding campaigns basically alongside of it, and you'll basically have both of those campaigns working together to get you better results. I'm actually running a lot of standard shopping campaigns with very specific search terms that I'm targeting, and then PMAX campaigns, basically very broad. The PMAX campaigns before that standard shopping campaign, basically directing it, was performing very poorly. Once I added that standard shopping campaign, it started performing really well. So listen, I get it. Like you want to have control. You want to see good performance. You want to know which levers to kind of pull and push and when. And the thing is, like search term reports, it's a place of anxiety for many clients, for many PPC managers, and I totally get that. But you have to choose to either fight the algorithm, or you can choose to actually understand how the algorithm works, how long it takes, and ultimately when you can optimize and when you can start to see and expect better performance. So when's the best time to optimize your campaigns? When it comes to smart bidding, you're definitely not going to want to do that every day. And that's one of the biggest mistakes that I see, is that people are basically changing every single day something, whether it's budget, ROAS target, negative keywords, whatever it may be. That restricts the algorithm from really working. And so the reason for that is because it's going after an audience. It's following these different people in your target around basically the internet until they ultimately convert. And so make sure that you understand that you either need to fight the algorithm and choose to continue to like go on this approach with smart bidding to over optimizing it, or you can kind of do this new structure that I'm going to talk about here. Okay, so this is actually part of Google's documentation, but you want to optimize your campaigns based off of the number of conversions that you're getting in your campaigns. So if you're getting fewer than 30, and this is actually per ad group specifically. So when you're running smart bidding strategies, you want to make sure that you have the proper amount of ad groups for the expected conversions that you are looking to get. So if you're looking at fewer than 30 conversions, it's going to be, whenever you make changes, it's going to fluctuate your performance. You're going to have large amounts of fluctuation. So you're going to expect medium to high fluctuations. It could be like a complete drop. Most people, when this happens, when they change something and then the performance drops, what they end up doing is they revert everything back before waiting the proper amount of time based off of the conversion lag. But the reaction to those changes that you initially made, it could take up to 2 weeks. And so just make sure you're aware. If you have less than 30 conversions coming through on an ad group, you change that campaign, you can expect that it's going to take 2 weeks before the changes are understood by Google and it's able to optimize. Now, you also have to take into account the typical conversion lag. So if you've got, for example, a conversion lag of 20 days, so you need to wait not only just those 2 weeks, but then 20 days after that in order to know if it's ultimately getting the results that you are looking for. Now, when you start a campaign, it's going to take up to 4 weeks in order for it to optimize. And so make sure that you understand, like, don't touch it, let it go, leave it be. It's trying to figure itself out, and wait 4 weeks. Now, this is also 50 to 100 to 500 conversions per ad group. You can see that that was the very low end, and this is the very high end. That ultimately, like 500 conversions per ad group, if you're getting that, you're going to see a lot less fluctuations. You will still have some, but you could see it learning a lot quicker, and you could see as few as 6 hours or so for it to get back to where it needs to be. But again, make sure you measure that, and then also the typical conversion lag. And then you can also use this 50, 100, and be able to use this as you're thinking about your campaigns and understanding the quantity of conversions that you're getting. Now, if you want this download where I go through and break down older bidding strategies versus smart bidding strategies and this template, just let me know, as well as just this advice. Just drop a comment below, and I'd love to give you that download. Google Smart Bidding can be extremely powerful if you know how to use it, but how do you know how to structure these campaigns? So in the video here, I actually walk through a step-by-step guide on when to use what structure and what it should look like. So click the video here and check it out.